Recording on both. Flag on the play. I cut the grass yesterday.
Is that
I have the sniffles.
Is that a joke?
It isn't. It wasn't the beginning of a joke. No, I actually cut the grass yesterday and I got hit with a allergy attack that I haven't had in years. But I'm gonna soldier on.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, welcome back to Moto Photo Adventures, everybody. I'm here with Jason, as you guys already know, who's our premier video editor and tag along.
That's it. Period.
Are you the funny guy? Are you the? What's the out of the three Stooges here? What are you?
That's a dang good question.
You're the
director.
No. I mean, you know, there's always a funny guy, and then there's a straight guy.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I would suppose you would have to parallel it with a sitcom, and then we could decide which character we are.
Oh, well,
So,
you are definitely Kramer.
I could be Kramer. I could be Kramer. I got to start walking into rooms differently, but I could be Kramer.
Am I Jerry or George?
You got to be Jerry because Steve's George.
Steve's George, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, Steve's George.
Well, welcome back to Moto Photo Adventures, everybody. It is great to see you all again, and we've got another great episode coming. I can't wait to, well, we're going to reveal a little bit of something in this one. Stick around to the end. We might have a little nugget for you. But before we get to that, we're going to talk to Jason, and he's going to show us a lot of cool stuff about his amazing, what year is this?
2011.
2011 Suzuki V-Strom.
Yep.
And you've clocked how many miles?
I have put 25,000 on it. I bought it with a little over 10.
Wow. In 4 years.
Yes. October, the first week of October, I think it was the 9th. It'll come up in my Facebook memories here shortly, I'm supposing. But we are coming up on the 4-year anniversary of when I bought the bike, October 2019. So we put 4 years and 25,000 miles on it, going from coast to coast and north to south and sideways and triangles and circles and all kinds of stuff. So I figured
why did you buy this bike?
Okay, so if anybody doesn't know, my motorcycle history is I had one in college, a Yamaha Radian 1986.
Yeah.
That I bought with my college money. Haha.
If anybody has an old Radian sitting around in their garage that doesn't run, they want us to do like a project bike on it, donate it.
Yeah, I wish. So I traded that one in for an RF 600 Suzuki. And then I was out of motorcycles for a little while, and then I bought another one that I was going to put back together, so I rode it like once, and that was 25 years ago.
Wow.
Ish. And so I took a long break, and then I bought this one 4 years ago, and the reason I bought this one is because I had to follow you on the trails you decided.
Trans-America Trail.
So I had to pick something that was going to get me there, and on-road and off-road and long distances and the whole 9 yards, and my wife says I over-researched stuff, but I ended up with an early V-Strom because I wanted to pay cash because I didn't know how to ride.
Yeah.
Kind of. 25-year break, you kind of have to learn all over again.
Yeah, absolutely.
You never forget how to ride a bicycle, but you almost forget how to ride a motorcycle.
And this is your first adventure bike.
It's the first off-road bike for sure.
Right.
So, I purchased the V-Strom because everybody said it was the go anywhere, do anything, easy, never break, reliable kind of bike.
Right.
So that's what I did. And so when I purchased it, it had GV crash bars, GV luggage, GV luggage racks, and that was it.
No top box.
It did not have. It had a top. It had the top for the GV plate.
Gotcha.
But it wasn't a metal plate. It was the plastic
one.
It also had the stock skid plate, the half skid plate that comes on the V-Stroms.
Right.
And so I started replacing and building and all
modifying and all that good stuff.
Right.
But as far as you're concerned, this was specifically bought to do the Trans-America Trail.
It was specifically bought to do on-road and off-road. Yes, that is right. So because it had enough suspension and it had enough power, but still it wasn't too big and too heavy. It wasn't an Africa Twin.
Right.
For a guy who is $165.
Yeah.
And new to off-roading. So I figured I'd get something that I could, I didn't have to finance.
Right.
I could buy a used one, I could break it.
And you could
attempt to break it.
And you could manhandle it, manage it because the seat was low enough and all that good stuff. Enough.
Now, in retrospect, after learning some things, turns out this might have been elephants across the Alps. This might have been a big dude because it's very top heavy. Holds a lot of fuel at the top. It's a top heavy motorcycle. It is over 500 pounds dry, and so I might have could have done better on my first choice. But with that being said, I probably had to learn faster, and I might have better skills than I know of if I got on a more
off-road oriented. But back then, man, we didn't know how much we were going to. Yeah, no idea. We didn't know if we were going to be riding a lot of streets.
Correct.
If the Trans-American Trail was going to be a one-off or what.
I had no idea.
I had just come back from doing Mexico, and that whole trip I could have done on a street bike.
Right, and that's the whole reason I bought the 650 instead of the 1000 is because of the weight and the size and all that kind of stuff. So that was part of the considerations as well. I mean, I could have gone with a CB500X like you've got, but I felt it was a little bit too small for my height.
Sure.
And because I had a little bit more inseam, I could get a little bit more ground clearance, so I went with a little bit taller bike.
Right.
Yep.
Now let's go back to you were talking about how big and high the gas tank is.
Yeah.
That's probably the most amazing thing about this bike for adventure touring.
Yep.
What kind of range are you getting?
250.
That's crazy.
Ish.
Yeah.
Depending on how much weight and how hard on the throttle and all that. 250.
Yeah. And you're not exactly a speed demon 18-year-old, so you could probably eke out 300 miles if you wanted to.
I don't know, but I'm always the last one to say it's time for gas of the three of us.
You are, yeah. So. You're just putting along. I still got 2 bars. And Steve and I are starting to sweat bullets,
If y'all had reserve tanks, you'd be switching this. Yep, that's right.
All right, so what are some other benefits? Good fuel range. What are the benefits?
The V-twin.
Unbelievable bulletproof engine.
Supposedly bulletproof. You could run it all the way to oh no level and still get to where you want to go and then take care of it afterwards.
I mean, as long as you can get yours started.
Yep.
Action.
Ladies and gentlemen, since the Mabder, many months ago, I had problems with starting my bike because of a little tiny clutch switch. I am sincerely happy that Frank decided to join us because he knew the redneck fixables. A little piece of wire, a paper clip. I love it. Yeah, see, that's one of the little trials and tribulations that easy now. Honestly, it hasn't given me all that many problems. The switch, this clutch switch got wet. Couldn't figure out what it was. Thought it was the starter button. Thought it was electronics. Thought it was, and then we found out it wasn't. It was WD-40. So it was nothing. It was easy. So
the only problem you've had with it really is just a minor electrical issue, but we got that fixed.
With any knowledge whatsoever in my pocket, I would have known this, but I didn't know this.
Right.
It has never given me any mechanical issues. Is what I'm saying.
Shout out to Frank
Cone
at
One Old Man Riding for that little tip-a-roo.
You'll see in our 3rd or 4th episode on the Nova Scotia trip.
Yep.
Where Frank just
Yep. And he just threw up a
bunch of knowledge.
Yeah. Oh, what paper clips can fit.
Very cool. Absolutely.
Yep.
All right. Bulletproof engine.
Yep.
Fantastic gas range.
Yep.
What else you got?
Big seat. Big, comfortable, plush, go long time seat.
Big seat for
not a 2x4.
Big seat for a little butt.
Yes, absolutely. Well, the other thing too, I mean, any offer like a T7. It's 2x4.
It is. It's so narrow, and
like the Honda little tiny off-roads.
Yeah.
2x4.
Yeah.
So big, comfortable seat. Big area for storage, putting bags and all that kinds of stuff back here, and still gives room to slide forward and back. You got to stretch your knees every once in a while.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Right.
Anything else?
But for the bike considerations itself?
Yeah.
No, not really.
Now, we talked about the fuel range. Well, how's the mileage?
Well, 6 gallons-ish, 250. Do the math.
Okay. You're not the kind of guy that takes the calculator out and figures out every payment?
When the bars get down to 0, I start looking for gas stations.
Well, I've heard it's very fuel efficient, so that's good.
Yes.
In fact, when I was looking up a little bit more details, I found that a lot of people said it's cost of ownership on a Suzuki V-Strom is probably one of the most economic bikes
Probably
there.
so, yes. The oil change, the filters, relatively cheap. I've purchased sprockets and chains and rotors and, you know, brake pads and all that kind of stuff. And I suppose being a Japanese bike, you're going to have easily accessible all the time, and price effective parts.
Yeah.
And so that has always been a plus, even though I didn't know it was a plus when I bought the bike in the first place. But in comparison with BMW and Italian bikes, mine were cheaper. Absolutely.
Swedish bikes.
Yes. Now this one. Now we're talking about let's move to things that came on the bike originally and things that I have replaced at least once.
Okay.
Okay.
Absolutely.
So on the motorcycle, when I purchased it, I was a second owner. It had the Airflow, GV Airflow, double layer, big windscreen.
Touring windscreen.
Yeah. If you've seen my video, you didn't. I didn't like it. So I took it down to a little tiny moose racing one for our Natchez Chase.
Yep.
Got rained on like crazy. Figured that's a good city windshield. So I moved this one, and this one stayed on. This is the national brand, and it has stayed on entire for the rest of the time. So that was a success story. Okay. Except it took 2 tries.
That's all right.
It always takes 2 tries.
Sometimes it can take 3.
Yes. We went through GV side bags and luggage in the top case, the kidney bean ones.
Oh, yeah. I remember that. Episode, 7?
No, it happened twice, so it could have been 2 different episodes. But it was up in the Ozarks.
Ozark Mountains.
At one point, and I'm hearing Steve on the headset, "Hey, Jason, your bags have fallen over."
On GoPro.
And there, boom, on the ground. So I got rid of those real quick, and we got a hold of Nelson Rig, and they outfitted us all with the bags, and I'm sure you've seen that video as well. And so we moved on with luggage. But that's not really a bike thing. That was luggage. I was using the luggage racks that had already come on this bike to affix new luggage. That's my point.
I was really pleased with the Nelson Rig Hurricane bags.
Yes, absolutely.
Fantastic setup.
Yep.
All right, so then going along with luggage, what's up with this stuff?
So originally this bike had the GV crash bars up front, has the GV luggage rack right here, had the plastic GV top case luggage rack back here. We now have Outback Motortek luggage rack here, skid plate, and crash bars.
Nice. Yes. And they look amazing on this bike.
I like them. They have taken a beating, and they have done just fine. I had a different skid plate on there before Outback Motortek that I had upgraded from the half one that came with Suzuki.
Yep.
So that was a Rave Tech or something like that. Don't quote me on the Rave Tech. I'll put it up here if I'm wrong. But then because Outback was giving us this stuff, it was an obvious replacement. And it's an obvious upgrade even from that one. So,
right.
I think the only thing that I would say between that there would be a benefit from the previous one is that it just had a hole where the oil could come out. That's really the only convenience.
I think the guys at Outback Motortek are really smart, and I'm super happy with the setup on my bike too. I wonder, did you get a chance to ever test out your crash bars?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, as a matter of fact, we have evidence here. I've replaced the blinkers twice. Once from the big old sticky outy ones to a low profile, and even the low profile ones weren't low profile enough because that one got broken.
Those got broken too, yep.
Yes, but yes, I have. And if you can tell here, yes, it has hit the ground a number of times on either and both sides.
But the Outback Motortek stuff has really done a good job of protecting your bike, considering how much you abuse this poor machine.
You are exactly right. And,
I mean, I remember you getting some air way out in like Nevada or somewhere like that.
On an uphill, yep, got some air. Came down hard on the side. That was fun. But speaking of hard roads to ride, I did upgrade the suspension front and back. I went Race Tech on the front with straight springs and the gold emulators in there. And then I went Turatech on the back with the gold knob right there for adjusting the compression and the dampening.
Did you notice a big difference?
So I'll say yes, but I want that to be taken within consideration of how much experience I had to have a comparison to what it is I was upgrading to.
Right.
So it came with, the stock suspension, which I personally, as a new off-road rider,
couldn't tell if it was good or bad.
Correct. So when I upgraded, I could tell that there was a difference, but because I still don't ride hard, I'm not jumping, I'm not sliding, I'm not doing all the stuff. Meh.
Yeah, right.
I probably could have saved the money and been just fine.
Right.
But I wanted, in my mind, I wanted the confidence. I needed to know that I was giving myself every opportunity to not break something on me. Right. Not necessarily just the bike, but on me. Absolutely. So I did things that made myself feel better about a difficult trip.
Absolutely.
So that's the reason for that.
Now, some of the accessories that you put on, you've also taken back off. Mirrors, for example. Yes. I had the double take mirrors on here, and I put these back on for reasons that we won't tell particularly at this moment in the video. But I put the stock mirrors back on. Any bike I ever have, I'm going to put those mirrors on there. Mm-hmm. You like that? A, you fall down, they bend out of the way. B, lifetime warranty. Mm-hmm. C, easily maneuverable into weird configurations. Mm-hmm. D, you can replace the bolt that you tighten it up with a ram bolt, and I can put the GoPro mounts on them. Gotcha. And so because it's multifaceted, benefits, it's going to be the first thing I ever put on a bike. And I have them, and it's easy, and the benefits are just crazy. So that makes me wonder if you're saving them for a different bike. Now, I remember sitting in a crazy old abandoned hospital replacing your foot pegs with you. Yes, those are the SW Motortek foot pegs. The ones that were on it when I bought it were the OEM ones, and those felt like you were standing on a stick. Right in the middle of the arch of your foot. Yes. And so we switched that really fast, and I like those because they have the ability to lower them a few millimeters or up a few millimeters, and I've got I'm 6 feet tall, so I got a larger inseam, so I lowered those a little bit for myself. Plus they have the little quick release, so you can put the rubber on or leave the rubber off. Do you remember why we had to replace them? Yes. Yes. A little duh. Yes. You broke them coming off Cinnamon Pass. That's right. There's an episode for that too. They welded some people, Young's Machine Works at the bottom of the mountain in the snow, welded them back, the OEMs back together, got me home. We were cool. Immediately changed into the larger pegs. So that was cool. But had you not broken them, I mean, you probably would have replaced them anyway. These are so much better. Probably would have replaced them anyway, yes. Now, one of the first things I usually replace on a bike, for me, safety is a big concern. Yep. Lighting. How do you get seen? What did you change for lighting? I put some Amazon $25 fog lights in there. Uh-huh. And I hardwired it straight to the battery so that I could turn them on without the key. Gotcha. In there. So a lot of people like to wire their lights or their GPS or their whatever into the ignition, and the GPS, I did have it that way. But in this particular case, I thought it would be beneficial to be able to point my bike toward my campsite and turn my lights on without having, you see what I'm saying? Yeah. And so I did it that way. In retrospect, I never really used it like that. But I thought it was a good idea. You could have. But I never changed it. So that's the way that is at the moment. The original headlamp was a halogen. Correct, 2011. I have switched it to an LED. It was just a plug and play. All I had to do was get up in there and switch it out. So it was really, those were Amazon purchased too. They were not expensive. I have the links for those if anybody wants them. Okay. So that was cool. Excellent. Speaking of lighting, we mentioned that the low profiles, right? Yeah. So I don't know if these are actually legal. But I bought them and put them on there. I also didn't change the fuse or the whatever it is, so they blink really fast. Right. Don't care. Yeah. But that's I've replaced them twice because I broke them twice. Gotcha. But yeah, they when I turn on, they blink really fast. Yeah. Because I didn't put it in the. And so so everybody that goes past you goes, he put LED lights on his bike and didn't change his resistor? His switcher. Is it a resistor? I don't know. Whatever it is. I'm not an electrician. Leave us a comment. You know what's funny is that's really just a plug and play thing as well. No, don't care. But you don't care. I don't care. In fact, if it blinks faster, wouldn't you notice it more? I don't know. At least you look different.
Well, that's always the case.
You are different.
Yes, yes. Let's stay up front.
Yeah.
Bar risers.
Oh, yeah.
Rocks bar risers, because again, as I stand up, I'm a little bit taller.
Yep.
So I needed to pull this. And I put these on late in the ownership.
Sure.
Halfway through. It was about 2 years ago, I think, maybe a year ago, that I put these on.
Right.
Because we were, after finishing the Trans-America Trail, and noticing that this isn't proper, this is proper, and getting better, and figuring out body position and all of that kind of stuff, I was like,
yeah.
And
And
those need to come up.
And you noticed a big difference when we did the Mabder, I think.
Right.
You're
Yes.
like, wow, this is nice.
Yep.
You also have a couple things over here on your throttle. What's going on up here?
Yes, we have a couple of things up here. The first thing is the cramp buster, as it says right there, yes. And I have gotten really used to it. It almost feels weird when it isn't on there. I think even if I got another bike with cruise control, I think I'd still put it on there.
Yeah.
Just because it feels good. You don't even have to grip. You just kind of lay on it, right?
Yeah.
So, and because this bike does not have cruise control, Atlas Throttle Lock was kind enough to send us some for our bikes, because at the time you didn't have cruise control either.
Correct.
And so we put those on here, and I've used this on more than one occasion. I'm not a big cruise control guy at this particular moment.
Yeah.
But I think it's because it's the resistance style. You're locking your throttle.
Right.
If you hit the brake, you're still got your throttle locked.
Right.
So in a panic mode, I don't know that my muscle memory had been trained enough to kill the cruise control friction portion and back it off. I would just be squeezing brakes.
Now,
So I haven't used this very much, except to do, I needed to do something here with both hands or with my right hand or something.
I'll have to tell you, I'm pretty much the opposite.
Yeah.
If I'm off-road, I'm using the throttle. But if I'm on a highway at a constant rate of speed of any sort, whether it's a back highway at 55 or a interstate at 75, I lock that thing in all the time. And I got to be where I didn't have to think about it at all.
Well, I haven't used it so much, so tell me this. Did it stay?
Oh,
Did it drift?
No.
Okay.
Mine.
Because I don't know that I have, I'd never left it on long enough to find out.
Right.
It was only 15 to 30 seconds to a minute, so I could either cramp out or fix a cramp in my hand.
And that may be all most people need, just to shake off a little bit of cramp.
Now, that's not saying that if I bought a bike with cruise control, I wouldn't use cruise control.
Gotcha.
I'm just saying that possibly, we'll find out, but possibly it could be that.
You just weren't getting the muscle memory, and so you didn't feel comfortable. I get it.
Having to roll it forward.
But having said that, I think throttle locks are fantastic if your bike doesn't have cruise control. They're such a neat device on a long trip, to where you can always let go on this hand and get some fatigue relief, but you can't on this side. So it really gives a nice opportunity to relieve your wrist if you're getting tired.
One thing I didn't mention, I forgot while we were down here, is I have the center stand. I want to say so because the guy really worked hard for me to get it in time for a trip.
Gotcha.
I ordered the center stand with just enough time to make it for our stage 4 of the TAT. However, this is from Happy Trail. They got it in, and a batch that they had gotten made was not quite right. So he called me and he said, "Oh man, I'm sorry, it's not gonna happen. We're not gonna be able to get it to you in time." I said, "Well, anything you can do. It's not absolutely necessary that I have it for the TAT, but I'd appreciate it if you could get that to me, John." A couple of hours later, he emailed me again and said, "I have an idea. I have a showroom model that I use to demo. I can send you that one overnight and get to you." John, you rock, son. That's customer service. Now, I've got a small problem. Let's go to the other side of the bike. And so, and we broke one of the springs on in Utah or something. The TAT took its toll. It busted a spring. So I got to get a new one. Or, hey, John, can you send me a spring? And he sent me another one for free, and he said in the email, "I'm not going to keep sending you springs if you keep breaking them." I'm like, I got it. We're cool, but thank you very much, and I wanted to give a shout out for that because it was a deal.
Nice.
Yeah.
And you've also got a little bit of extra cushion on your seats.
Yep, that's easy enough. That's just an Amazon mesh net that keeps the sun off and keeps the rain out.
Yep.
So that's easy. A couple little things to keep the tank from getting scratched. Oh yes, what a brilliant idea I had to keep this. I should have put them here where my knees could grip, but no, Jason thinks he's going to keep it from getting scratched.
Yep.
Yeah, so much for that idea.
Now, are you the kind of guy when you're driving and navigating, do you use your phone?
I have found that I use it thusly. I have the GPS, Bluetooth, Senna, Bluetooth, phone, Bluetooth. So my phone connects to my GPS, which connects to my Senna, so that I can
use the touchscreen on your GPS,
music and things like that. If I'm going on long trips out of my normal living area, I'll use the GPS for routes like we do on our trips.
Gotcha.
But for local stuff, I always use my phone for maps. And so I don't know how it's going to work if I ever have to rethink this system, but that's how I have it now. So it's Senna, phone to GPS to Senna.
Now, I'll let you guys know that Jason and I are pretty good friends. So normally we're in complete sync, but he totally whiffed that.
I didn't whiff anything.
You whiffed it totally.
How did I whiff it?
Let me start that again by saying, so are you the kind of guy that uses your phone on any of these adventures?
That was a horrible way to restart that. Yes. Oh, yes, Chris, I do. And the thing that holds it up for me so that I can see it really nice is a quad lock with a dampener. Would you like to know more?
Yes.
I like it. I didn't have the dampener. It started messing up my camera on my phone.
Before the dampener.
Who was it that gave us a dampener? Somebody donated the dampener.
Yeah, hold on.
I'm blanking.
No, hold your hand there. Yeah, big shout out to my cousin Don Jr., Cammy's cousin. He
sent me the dampener.
Sent us the dampener, and we appreciate that. That was very kind.
That was cool. Once the dampener was on there, for some reason my phone fixed itself. It hasn't done it since, but I will have one tiny little critique on the quad lock.
Yeah.
You really have to get it positioned properly before you can lock it in.
Okay.
Not only is it at 45 in the flat orientation, but then you've got this
Angles.
going on that it's got 4 little pieces that it has to connect perfectly flat before it'll twist into place.
Gotcha.
I have sat with gloves and a helmet and the heat and the clutch and I have sat there for more of the time than I wanted to get that thing on there. I wish that was easier. I wish it was better, or maybe I just have bad technique. Either way, that's the only critique that I have.
Maybe you just have difficulty establishing muscle memory, as we established with the Atlas throttle lock.
I got some muscle memory for you.
All right. Well, tell us what else, anything that I forgot to direct you to, that you want to tell us about this amazing motorcycle.
I haven't done any sprocket teeth ups or downs or anything like that. I've replaced the chain and replaced the sprockets, 2 on the front, 1 on the back since I've had it.
Brake pads?
Brake pads, obviously, when necessary. And sometimes way after necessary. So that's pretty much going on right now. But other than that, that's pretty much the deal. And
nice.
It has done me very well for a very long time. And
tires, of course. What was your
TKC 80?
What was your favorite tire overall? TKC 80?
Probably TKC 80. Cheap, lasted long enough for a trip, plus some.
And good grip.
And good grip.
Okay.
So I have Shinkos on now, but it's because we basically did a road trip. I did more of a, I don't know what these would be considered, a 60-40, something like that. So
Shinkos
I wanted
705s, right?
Whatever the street ones are.
The street ones, 705.
I think I've done the Shinko 805s, and they were fine as well.
Yep.
But I think I leaned toward the TKC 80 simply because they were they're inexpensive, super grippy, but they didn't last long, as long.
The back. The front lasts okay.
Front lasts okay. Well, of course.
Well, shoot, man, if we're tackling tires, what's the other big question everybody asks?
Tubeless or tubed?
No. What's your favorite oil in this thing?
I go with the organic dinosaur blood. I drain it straight from their vein into there.
You know how you get on the forums and everybody's always like,
I know.
"What's your favorite tire, man?"
Well,
what was your favorite oil?
Yes, that's absolutely true. But no, I just put what put what they say.
Whatever Suzuki recommends.
I am not like that.
Yeah.
I don't care. Nor it's not that I don't care. It's that I don't know enough to care.
Gotcha.
So I just go with what they recommend and hope everything's fine.
Yep. I mean,
now this does have tubeless tires. Let's go back to the tires. You asked me about the tires.
Okay.
Tubeless tires. That was a big deal because I saw Steve having to take his entire bike apart to change his tube in his tire. And I've decided it doesn't matter what kind of bike I get. That's one of the first considerations that I would do if I were ever going to upgrade.
Is tubeless tires.
Tubeless tires, yeah.
Well, that was a big consideration for me when I moved from the CB500X to the Aprilia Touareg 660.
Yeah.
I liked that it had tubeless tires.
Nice. I think that's it.
Well, all this work you've put into making Zebra like this beautiful, perfect machine that fits you. Why are we making this video?
Well, after 35,000 miles, not a whole lot of complaints. It was time to release Zebra back into the wild, I think. At this point, there are things that need to be done because of its age and because of its mileage.
You know, you're at that mileage mark where you need new bearings, new
steering bearing, new back brake rotor. That's not the Zebra's fault. That's my fault for not replacing the brake pads fast enough. But you know, it's time to look at spark plugs. It's time to look at all of the things.
So you could just trade her in and let the dealership handle that.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, you know, let's be honest. It's a 2011. It's a wonderful bike. If anybody buys it, they're going to get a fantastic motorcycle with a ton of life left into it. I just think that it's time for me to graduate.
Gotcha. Well, so has riding Zebra all these years, you know, after not riding for so long, you know, you don't really know what you want when you jump on a bike for the first time after that long.
Right.
Has Zebra given you some insights?
All right, so something I thought of are all of the things that made this a first learner, and the difficulties and the top heaviness and the 500 pounds and the... Am I now going to find out I'm a good rider?
Are you not?
I'm just saying, I have no idea. Is it going to be that this has been... Zebra? I've been riding a Zebra. You don't ride a Zebra. They're meant for wild. You ride... You know?
Okay.
You ride a quarter horse.
Okay.
You ride an American horse. You ride an Appaloosa. You don't ride a Zebra. They're hard to ride. This was a hard bike to learn to ride on, now that I look back on it.
No, I think it was an easy bike to learn to ride on. But now your skills are being held back.
But was it a hard bike to learn to ride on the tat?
Yeah, well, any bike would have been.
But is this one even more difficult because of the limitations that it had with the heavy and the top
suspension,
heavy and the low, 19 front suspension, all of the things? Did it help me learn how to ride difficult terrain on a difficult bike? And now, if I upgrade to something that is more modern, 21st century, am I going to find out I'm actually a little bit better than I thought I was?
Maybe.
I hope so.
That'll be neat.
Cool. But
So what have you decided to get?
Now it's time for something completely different.